We all want what's best for our fish, right? I realize that I, and most likely all of you watching this, are certifiably crazy. We take things to a level that most fish keepers don't. But most fish keepers aren't crazy like us. They have an aquarium and they enjoy the fish, but it's not something they revolve their lives around. They don't watch hours of content on aquariums and join local aquarium clubs. They just have an aquarium. It's like truck people. I have a truck. I love my truck, but I don't revolve my life around it. I take good care of it and I do my best to keep it clean, but I'm not going to start going to truck shows and studying trucks all day on the internet. This is how most fish keepers are with their aquariums, but for us crazy people, we can sometimes take things way too far. We allow our obsession to take over our lives and we revolve our lives around it to an unhealthy level. This is how I am with my 360-gallon Oscar and biker tank. And I don't want to forget the Severums. When I set this tank up in 2019, I did it very simple. I had it bare bottom with the tree trunk in the middle that I got from Universal Rocks way back in 2016. It was simple, it was easy, and it was clean. Most of the time. Then we moved here back in May of 2022. And I guess it was around a month later, I said, there's got to be something better I can do with this tank. I've got 10 fish in there that are all huge slobs, and I feel like they deserve better than just a bare bones tank. I decided that a new sand substrate was the way to go, and along with that, I added more rocks and some driftwood, and I felt pretty good about it. I felt like I did a good thing for my fish. But I was wrong. I haven't been happy with this tank since about a month after I did it. Adding all of those rocks just became something to accumulate fish poop, and so I started slowly taking these things out piece by piece until things were back to the way they were in the beginning. Basically, the tree trunk and a couple small pieces of eucalyptus root. But then there's the sand. My thought with the sand was, I want to give the biker something to lay on rather than the glass bottom. I wanted to give him something with a natural feel and improve the look of the tank at the same time. Well, this has done the exact opposite. The sand is always disgusting. There's poop on top of it and stuck to it, which is impossible to get out during water changes, and it overall just looks terrible. But that's not all. I want to show you something that might shock you, but to be honest, I don't know how well it's going to show up on camera. It's pretty apparent when you see it in person. Take a look at my Polypterus lepradi named Crab. Yes, Crab. His fellow bikers in the tank are Goyle and Draco. You can figure that out, but take a look at what he looked like in the tank before I put the sand in. This fish is not a chameleon. His colors have changed dramatically, and it happened almost instantly after I put the sand in. Is he unhealthy? No. Is the sand killing him? Certainly not. But he looks like crap. He deserves better. So what do I do here? I have the aquarium of my dreams with my favorite fish in it, and I've completely ruined it. Well, I do what I have to do. I fix the problem by going back to what works. I change things back to the way they were when I and the fish were the happiest, and it all starts with removing all of that sand. It's kind of funny. I did a video showing you how to install the play sand using this tank. Now I'm making a video on how to remove it, but this video is to make a bigger point than that. I've had so many people approach me and say, John, I feel like there's something more I need to do to my tank. I feel like there's something missing, and if I add just one more thing, my fish will thrive and I'll be much happier. My response to them is always, hey, listen, you're being way too hard on yourself. If your fish are happy and thriving, making a big change could make things worse rather than making them better like you think they will. Well, I guess I should have listened to my own advice. Sometimes we can be our own worst critic. We look at our tank and we think we could be doing more to make it great when in reality, it's already great. This tank was great. The fish looked amazing. It stayed much cleaner and maintenance was a breeze. I didn't listen to my own advice and completely screwed this thing up. Removing sand from an aquarium is a pretty simple but messy task. The problem is getting every grain of sand up and doing it efficiently. I started out with a larger diameter hose. This is actually a hose that came off of a Fluval 407 canister filter. This was doing okay, but the problem is I have larger river stones mixed in with the sand and they'd get stuck in the hose. With the hose being black, I couldn't see where the rock got stuck and it was a huge pain. So I started using a fish carrier. This made a huge mess and was even worse than the hose, and every single time I would scrape that thing across the bottom, I'd barely get any sand in there. It was a total fail. Every time you mess with a sand substrate tank, you're going to create cloudiness in the water. It's just there. So I let things settle and waited till the next day. While I was waiting, I went to my local hardware store and picked up some 3/4 inch diameter clear hose. This is day 2, and the bigger hose worked better, but was also a huge pain. Rocks would still get stuck, and the fact that the hose was clear made it so I could see them, but didn't make the process of clearing the clog any easier. There's also the fact that this hose came in a tight coil, which made it like a huge wrestling match. This job was turning into a huge nightmare. But I have something these days that I never had when I was younger: patience. Each time I would work on this, I'd look at the tank in the morning and see how it was improving and was so excited to see how it would turn out. It made the hassle of doing this so much easier. I just took my time and said, you know what? When it's done, it's going to be so worth it. Even though I just said I have plenty of patience, I still wanted to make this job easier if possible. I tried a heat gun to straighten it out, and that was a huge fail. I tried fastening a piece of PVC pipe to the end, and really none of it worked. I just had to grit my teeth and bear it, and it took a total of 4 sessions to get it all out. I suppose this could have been easier if I'd taken the fish out and just drained the tank completely and get every single speck out of it, but I wasn't in a hurry, and I had no problem doing this over the course of a few days. Plus, I'm not going to lie, catching these beasts in a net and storing them in something until the job's done is no fun at all. And at their size, I could have injured them pretty bad. With fish this size, I like to leave them alone as much as possible. So after a total of 4 days working on this, I got it all out. Now, it's not like I was working on this for 10 hours a day for 4 days. I don't have that much patience, but it was a couple hours each day and let everything settle in between. This project was not as easy as it should have been, and it could be argued that I'm the one that made it difficult, but the bottom line is, it's done. Now that the substrate is out of this tank, it's so much easier and much more enjoyable to maintain. I ended up attaching that piece of 3/4 inch PVC to the end of the Fluval hose that I started out with, and it works great for getting in there to vacuum up the fish's mess. Especially since I don't have to worry about those big rocks getting stuck in there anymore. Yes, it's true, the poop is back to sitting on the glass, which makes it much more obvious than the sand, but at the end of the day, I think it's a better look. And not only that, but when you have big monsters like this, their poops are huge and they land on the sand gets stuck to the poop, which makes it not want to get sucked up into a siphon hose and just makes everything into a huge nightmare. I don't have to worry about that anymore. I also plan on adding a Fluval FX6 that I've had sitting around for a while, and I'll put the input really low with some circulation pumps pushing that waste over to the input of the filter. Maybe it'll make things look a little better. The biggest point I'm trying to make with this video is if you step back and look at your tank and everything's running smoothly, your fish are happy and healthy, and it's not giving you any problems, it's okay to be happy with that. Don't overanalyze it and think, there's gotta be something I can do that'll make it better. Yeah, sometimes there might be something better, like a new light. Might I suggest the Luma light that we're now selling on our website? I'm sorry, I just had to get a plug in there whenever I can. But if you're looking in your tank thinking you should perform some major makeover because you think it'll make things better, you might regret it. Yeah, sometimes it'll work out like it did for me when I did the full makeover of my Yellow Lab 240 gallon and my Peacock and Hap 240 gallon. But sometimes you might look at it and say, oh, I wish I just left this alone. That's exactly what happened to me with this tank, and I paid the price for it. Don't make things more difficult for yourself. Enjoy your aquarium and don't allow them to become the biggest stressor in your life. I hope that helps you out. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I can't wait to talk to you on the next one. Bye.